So we are going to discuss the next part of seed. Previously we have discussed about the structure of seed, even we have seen the germination types, the factors which affect the process of germination, and now we will see about dormancy of the seeds, or what we call it as seed dormancy. So when we say that seeds are dormant, it is the stage where the seeds are not germinating even if we are providing them with favorable conditions like moisture or other factors which are favorable for the germination. Even we are providing them, still then the seeds, they are not germinating. We call it as dormancy of the seed. So broadly speaking, there are different types of dormancies. The first type, that is primary dormancy. Next, that is secondary dormancy. Third, we call it as exogenous dormancy, endogenous dormancy, and fifth is combination of all these. So we will see one by one all these types of dormancies. First, that is primary dormancy. So when the seeds, they are dispersed from the plant, when we harvest the seeds, so that time the maturity is attained by the embryo, and this dormancy is induced either during maturity of the embryo or when the embryo is getting matured. So these seeds, they will not remain capable of germination after that period. When the embryo is matured, these seeds, they fail to germinate. They undergo some temporary period of dormancy. So that we call it as primary dormancy. Second type, that is secondary dormancy. It is the dormancy when the seeds we harvest, that time they are capable of germination. They are able to germinate properly. But after some time, due to some unfavorable factor, they undergo the dormancy period, like concentration of carbon dioxide or even low temperatures. They induce such type of dormancy. We call it as secondary dormancy. Third type, that is exogenous dormancy. Exo means external. So obviously here dormancy is due to the factor which is outer to the embryo. It is not because of the embryo, it is because of some external factor that is around the embryo. We call it as exogenous dormancy. That may be physical reason, that is seed coat may be hard, or that may be any mechanical resistance in the seed coat due to which dormancy is there, or that may be due to any other chemical which is present in the seed coat. Because of that, dormancy is observed. We call it as exogenous dormancy. Next type, that is endogenous dormancy. Endo, that is internal factor which is related to embryo. We call it as endogenous dormancy. That embryo itself is not able to germinate. That is the endogenous dormancy. The factor is with embryo only. That is immature embryo may be there, or some chemical may be associated with the embryo. That is the factor. Next, it is combined type of dormancy. Here from the term itself we can guess, that is, it is combination of two or more these factors. Any factors from this list, they are the cause in combination for the dormancy. So we have to overcome these factors which are responsible, then only the seed is able to germinate. So, taking into consideration all these reasons because of which seeds they remain dormant, we can overcome this dormancy or we can break this dormancy. So, there are different ways of breaking this dormancy. So, we will see one by one these methods also to overcome the dormancy of the seed. So, first method, that is scarification of the seeds. Second, that is stratification of the seeds. And finally, we can use some chemicals to break the dormancy. So, first we see about scarification. So, here there are different ways by which we can scarify the seeds. So, first, that is by pre-chilling treatments. This before sowing, we can treat the seeds with cold temperatures ranging between 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. We can use for treatment of the seeds so that the dormancy can be overcome. That range is what I said, that is 0 to 5 degree is the range of pre-chilling treatment to the seeds, so that after that the seeds they can germinate. The duration of this temperature treatment, it depends again on different types of seeds. It varies. Second, that is pre-drying is there. Pre-drying also can be done. That is, you can keep the seeds in hot air for drying. The temperature should not be above 40 degrees centigrade. It is the range. You cannot go beyond this. So, at that temperature, the seeds they can be dried so that when you are sowing them, they will germinate properly. Third, there is pre-washing. So, many a times the seed coats, they are having some substances. So, to remove them, it requires pre-washing. By the water, you can wash the seeds, or sometimes some dilute solutions are used for pre-washing of the seeds to remove those inhibitors. Next, pre-soaking is there. It is very common practice in households also. We are using this treatment, that is, we can soak the seeds in water before keeping them for germination. So, that is also one of the very simple and common treatment. Next, rubbing. So, sometimes the seed coats, they are problematic. They are not permeable to water, and in this case you can go for rubbing those seed coats so that they will become permeable and water can enter in them, which is the first important factor for germination. Usually in case of the seeds like coriander, it is common practice of rubbing the seeds. Next is stratification. So, strata means layers. So, in this case, the sand or soil layers of favorable temperatures, they are used for treatment. The layers are prepared in which the seeds are treated. Hence, we call it as stratification treatment. In nature also, we observe this. That is followed by hot summers when showers are there. We observe so many seeds, they sprout naturally by stratification. Last method, that is use of some chemicals. So here, when any of the treatment is of no use, we can go for use of chemicals. So here we will see what are these chemicals? So the first chemical which we are using, that is potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate, KNO3. So very small amount are required for such treatments, that is 0.2% of KNO3 can be used to treat the seeds. So usually in the crops like rice, we observe such chemical treatment like KNO3. Second, that is gibberellic acid. So there are different types of gibberellins available in the market. We can use them in various concentrations like 500 ppm or 1000 ppm depending on the type of the seed, so that it will be germinated. Next is Thio Urea. So Thio Urea is also a very traditional practice which is mostly used in case of the plants which we grow by tubers or by cones. Like potato, you are using Thio Urea. It is very common practice by the farmers. By use of Thio Urea, they sprout the potatoes, or even the gardeners who are growing the flowering plants like gladiolus, they are using the treatments like Thio Urea, that is useful to overcome the dormancy of their sets. So it is about different methods which are used to overcome the dormancy.